Hi guys, it's Megan here with Megabucksavingz. Today I'm going to share with you quick bits of different projects that I needed to tackle in my home, specifically in my basement bathroom and in my basement kitchen. So come along with me as I tackle these projects. If you are new here, please do consider subscribing. I do a lot of DIYs, thrifting, different things on a budget like grocery hauls and things like that. So if you do like something like that, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Any supporting efforts is greatly appreciated. I did share it in a previous video, which I will link in this video, either in a little clip it here in the video or down below in the comments. I have this thing that I thrifted. Actually, it wasn't thrifted. It was bought at one of our vintage shows that we've had in our town, and they have it like once or twice a year. But I thrifted this a while back ago. It's probably been about 5 years ago, and I was using it in my laundry room as just kind of some shelving in there, and this fit perfectly with the sink that was already in the bathroom. So I'm repurposing it and using it as the sink base. And then I picked this up off of the curb. Somebody was getting a bunch of stuff away. This was broken, and so I cut this, or had somebody cut this in half for me, and I'm going to be using it for my basement bar leg. And so I sanded it down. As you can see, the different colors that after I sanded it down, and used the color Provincial, and that was what I used for the butcher block stain. So I wanted to kind of match that. I was thinking about painting it like a black color, but I decided to leave it more of that woodsy kind of color. And then over in my bathroom, I needed to take these trim pieces off of this little cubby nook thing that I have in here, and I did like it, but with this like feathered concrete look I have in a that I did in a previous video as well. I got the inspiration from the DIY Huntress, but I thought that like taking the trim off and doing this kind of feathered look in the nook as well was a great idea. So I am getting the trim off and going to try to attempt to do this feathered look in this little nook, and I hope it turns out in the end. And you'll have to kind of see and let me know what you think in the comments below when the video comes to an end. But I wanted to go ahead and try it at least, and that's all I'm really here to do, is to try new things as a homeowner and to try to do things on a budget. So I am just going to try to tackle all of this by myself. So I did end up, after I took off the trim, filling in all of the cracks with some joint compound, or some spackling, sorry, and then let that dry. And as I was letting that dry, I did go over to the kitchen bar area in the basement, and I had my contractor come over to kind of help me think of some ideas on what to do with this little corner piece, because I didn't know if I wanted like an L shape area, but this would have ended up being like a T shape, if that makes sense. And so it's going to be like an opposite U shape, I think is how I'm going to end up doing it. But he said he would help me cut the piece of wood because I don't have a saw to do that type of a cut. And he's the one that helped me work on my kitchen upstairs, and so I trust him that he's going to help me get a good cut on this butcher block. And I am just, he suggested that I put a piece of wood here in the cabinet. The cabinet is from the old kitchen cupboards that I saved and repurposed for the basement bar area. And he said just to kind of put some piece of wood there to help support the butcher block when he puts the butcher block in, and helps me do that. And then we do have to kind of do some leveling as well, so I had to kind of get a few different things done with this little cabinet, and I do have that I'll share here with you later of what I'm going to do with the side of the cabinet that's going to be underneath the bar countertop. And I need to seam that all together so it's all has like a front face on the side of the cabinet, if that makes sense. I don't know the terminology of it, but you'll see here later. I really just needed to kind of tackle some of these projects, so I kind of just separated them in piece by piece. As something was drying, I was going over and getting the other stuff done in the kitchen area, and then coming back in here and doing coats of this cement here. I did end up sanding it down and putting a second coat on it, and then I also just was using whatever tools that I have left over around my house. I do need to get new tools. I have just had them for many years and they're all rusty and crusty, so I ended up just using my hand in some areas. This was kind of hard to get in here and have it just kind of, I don't know, stick to the wall. Even though I painted it and primed it beforehand, it just wasn't doing what I wanted it to, so that's why I had to kind of sand it down and redo it again. But I think I'm gonna end up really liking it. I don't know. And then there's some shelves that I have too that go in here, and so I think I'm just gonna do that cement look as well for the shelves. I thought about staining them, the wood pieces, and staining them like that provincial color, just to kind of bring that wood color, but I'm not really sure. I'm kind of conflicted. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do, but I'm just gonna go with it. And then if I don't like it, I might just end up filling these holes and putting cement in them and putting just like a little vase and flowers in here, just kind of as a decor piece. But this was really helping with storage purposes. And then I do want to quickly note that under the sink, we thought we would be able to put the glass piece back in it for the shelf underneath the sink, but we couldn't. So I think what I'm gonna do is have a glass company cut the glass in like a U shape so that I can get the piece of glass shelving in the underneath the sink, so I do have some storage. I was really kind of bummed out about it, but I think having a glass company cut for me, if they can, I'm gonna do that. And so you see here that I ended up getting a sponge brush to try to finish this piece, and man, I was really struggling to get this done, just because it's such odd shapes and I don't really have the tools to get this done. But man, hey, you got to work with what you got, especially if you're working on a budget. So you will see here in a minute that I'm going to be priming those little wooden shelf pieces, and then I ended up not getting footage of getting the cement coating on the shelving. So I'm just gonna tackle that now and then show you guys what I end up doing. All right, so here's the coat rack that I got off the curb. I took those handles off and I ended up spray painting them. I think it's like a bronze color, but I'll share with you guys here in a second a clip of what the spray paint I used, but here's what they look like spray painted. I didn't like the rustic. I didn't want towels to get stained, and I also I found this cabinet door from the old bar in the basement that I kept that I thought would work perfectly for that face, that side paneling piece for the basement cabinet. So I'm just going to take this little piece off that's connecting the cabinet. How they made the cabinet door, I don't know, but I'm just going to take it all apart and take the doorknob off just like this here. And then I'm going to paint this paneling the color of the cabinets, and it's called Cracked Pepper, and I think it's by Behr or Sherwin-Williams, but I went to my local Menards and I just had them look up the color. Now it is an older version. I think it's like 2016 is what it is, I believe, of the Cracked Pepper. They have, I think, like 4 different versions of it, but I really like this color. It's not too dark and it's not too light for the cabinets in the basement. And so I painted 2 coats of this on here, and I cleaned up the cabinet really good before I did it. But here's what it actually fits perfectly over this, except right there on the top part of the cabinet. But I might cut off another piece because I have 2 of these, actually 3 of these with the same size. And then I painted the cabinet doors, and here is what the little leg looks like now that it's stained and as well. And then I have these shelves that were in the old cabinet thing here, the little nook here in the basement bathroom, and I did the sanding and the priming and the cement coat on those little shelves. I haven't decorated it yet, and it's still wet and drying here. You can see it's kind of wet in some spots still, but I really like it. And I'm really not sure yet what I want to do with a mirror, so I've been kind of testing some mirrors out. Maybe give some ideas of what you think, but I kind of want to reach all the way up to the top of the ceiling with the mirror. I'm not really sure yet what you guys think. Let me know any opinions. I would love them so I can get this project finished. But thanks for watching. Bye.